everyone, I'm Bryony from Stitched Up, and today we're going to learn how to maintain your sewing machine. Let's do this. So as well as your sewing machine, what you're going to need is the instruction manual, and if you don't have your one then you can probably download it online. Some cloths, and we've just used cut up old t-shirts. A brush of some kind, so you might have the one that came with your machine, but if not you can just use a paintbrush, or we've just got this one that also puffs out air, which is quite useful for clearing out fluff. A pipe cleaner, which is not totally essential, but if you've got one it's handy, and then some screwdrivers. So you should have one with your machine, but if it's an old machine or you don't have it anymore, then just a smallish kind of flathead screwdriver is good. And these little stubby ones with the wings on the side are really helpful for opening up your machine. You'll also need some sewing machine oil, so make sure it's the right kind, definitely not like 3-in-1 oil or bike oil or olive oil, just it needs to be the right one for sewing machines. It's extra thin and clear. And you'll need some spare needles, and I've just also put in a pair of pliers here because sometimes you need a little bit of extra help opening things up, and an unpicker just in case you need to sort of hook out any bits of tangled threads in the machine. The first thing that we're going to do is just give it a bit of a dust down, because this machine has been obviously kept without a cover on it. So yeah, just always put a cover on your machine because it just stops dust getting in there. Then open up the side. So we swivel it around. This circle here is actually a cover for the screw underneath that opens up the machine. So if you take your screwdriver, you can just pop that off. Don't lose it. And then in there, you can see you can get to the screw. Once you've undone that screw there, you should then be able to just take off the cover of your machine like that. So it's not looking too bad in there, but there's kind of a little bit of dust in here, so we're going to get rid of that first of all. So just grab one of your brushes. So if you've got the one that came with your sewing machine, then that's good, just use that, and just literally dust out any of the fibres that you can see hanging about in there, because they don't do your machine any favours. This is also a good time, if you don't have a LED bulb in your machine, you could switch it out for an LED. They're just really, you can get really nice daylight ones, and they're just life-changing. So yeah, just check that you've got all of the dust out. This one doesn't actually look too bad inside, so that's good. And now we're going to just, with the presser foot up in the up position, so by presser foot I mean this thing, so there's a lever at the back of the machine that lifts up the presser foot, so have that up, and then we're just going to get the pipe cleaner and just going to go through this tension mechanism here. There's absolutely nothing on that, so that's all good, but sometimes you get some fluff stuck in there or some threads, so yeah, so that's good to just get rid of those. And then we're going to open up the bottom of the machine. So you just want to pull off that casing at the side, open this up at the front, and then in here is where you often get quite a lot of fluff and stuff building up in there. So we want to get rid of all of that. So first of all, we're going to take the bobbin and bobbin case out, and we're going to also dismantle this part. So just move these two levers out to the side, and then you can take off that bit, and then you can also take out that bit, and that's what we want to do, because we want to get right in there and, you know, get rid of all that fluff and stuff that's built up. So again, with your brush, just go in and get all that lint out of there. And you might, when you're doing that, see, look at that, rub. You definitely don't want that hanging about in your machine. So when you're doing that, you may well notice that there's some fluff up there, so we can get to that too. So this is where you might need the little short screwdriver like that one. So there's one screw there and there's another one there, and these just hold this plate on. So we're going to take that off, and then we're just going to get rid of any bits of fluff that are just hiding underneath it. So yeah, if this screw is in really tightly, then you can, with this little screwdriver, you can use a pair of pliers and just, you know, force it open. Undo both of those, put those screws to side, don't lose them. So what I've been doing is putting them inside the end of the sewing machine there, just so I don't lose them. Okay, so now we've got the plate off. You can kind of see, you often get just bits of fluff in these feed dogs here. So yeah, we just want to get rid of all of this fluff there that's hanging about. So just brush all of that off. Sometimes it gets kind of a bit compacted just under there, so I sometimes use an unpicker, you know, just to get bits of compacted fluff out. And if you can see any, like just then, there was some fluff that was just behind all of this stuff here, so grim. So yeah, just sort of get out as much of that as you can. The main thing is that there's just not anything major caught around all of this stuff. So yeah, that's looking all right. Once you've got rid of all of that stuff, we're just going to put a couple of spots of oil on the machine. Check in your instruction manual. It will tell you where you need to oil, and all machines are different, so check that before you do it. But for this machine, we're just going to put one drop just behind here. So if you turn the hand wheel, which is the wheel on the side of your machine, you can see which bits are moving, and basically you want to put a drop of oil in between those two moving parts there. So just take your sewing machine oil and literally one drop, don't douse it. And if you get a little bit too much in there, like as you can see, there's a bit of oil just kind of around here, you can just dab that away because you don't want it to be just soaking. And then for all these moving parts up here on this machine, we can also add a little bit of oil. So if you turn the hand wheel, you can kind of see all the bits where there is metal on metal. So I'm just gonna add a tiny drop there, there's a little one there. Whoops, that was a bit too much. Don't need to douse it, take it easy. So yeah, any excess you can get rid of, but and then you can kind of hear it when it's running nice and smooth, sort of, yeah, there's no kind of like crunching sounds or anything, so you can tell that you've done it some good. And then once you've done that, we can then just put it all back together again. So first thing, we can put the needle plate back in. And then once you've done that, you can reassemble this this part. So as you can see, there's a sort of C shape there. Well, this part just goes in on the other side of that, with the solid part, the solid back facing the back. So just pops in there like that. And then this part has these two bobbles facing outwards, and they kind of go on a slight slant, they're not exactly straight. And then these black bits push over to hold that all in place. So that's all of the bobbin area assembled and done. Now we can just pop the side back on. and then replace the cover. That's literally all there is to it. It's 5 minutes of your time to get your machine running like an absolute dream, so get to it.